we'll get rolling. Now, what's the name of the shop?
Is Hayward Bait and Bottle.
Hayward Bait and Bottle.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Like a bag at all today?
I'm good.
All right.
We'll carry him out of here.
Yep. Okay, so we have 6645 will be the grand total.
And you got the wood on there?
Actually, I do need to have the firewood for you.
Okay.
Just one bundle will do.
One bundle.
Okay.
Okay, so then we have 7066 on the card. Would you like a copy of your own receipt today?
I'm good.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Okay.
bro.
Yeah, maybe.
So we're at Hayward Bait and Bottle. I met Eric through Hayward Bait and Bottle. When I called up here looking for him, I had found him on the internet, and he works here on a regular basis year round.
Sure.
This is a 60-year-old bait and bottle shop. So when you come into Hayward Bait and Bottle, you're not only going to get a couple lures, some live bait, but you can also pick up a pint of whiskey too to take out on the river with you. What's important to know in Hayward is that you are best to use wood if you're going to cook over fire and you're coming in from out of town from the area. And we'll get into that later.
And then a signature with that. Actually, on this copy, I'm sorry.
Okay,
So-
buddy.
So we're
All right, sounds good, Bob. Thank you.
We're on our way out to fish the Chippewa flowage. Muskie is our goal today. Eric has been fishing for muskie how long?
A little over probably 10 years with a fly rod, though. About 8 years.
So Eric is one of the local experts on fly casting for muskie, and that's why we're with him today. Muskie, they say, is the fish of 10,000 casts. So we're going to put in about half of our day chasing the muskie, and then we're going to broaden our view. We may get into some walleye, we may get into some smallmouth bass, and then as the day becomes a little quieter and the sun drops in the sky, we're going to go back after the muskie. In between, we're going to do some bratwurst on the river. Looking forward to a great day on the Chippewa flowage with Eric Toohey.
Cool. You know, if you think about a muskie's food source, you know, this is a big meal that we just showed you. Sometimes that fish is only going to eat one big meal a day. Generally, especially in the fall. This time of the year, though, a lot of our forage tends to be, you know, whether it's perch or red horse suckers, which is in a lot of our bodies of water, whether it's a lake or river. You know, generally speaking, somewhere between that 6 to 8 to maybe even as big as 10-inch size. And they'll be able to eat that throughout the day and build up, you know, body mass, etc. And so single hooks are definitely a great platform for this time of the year. We're able to fish them very extremely shallow. We're able to fish them over weed beds. And then we'll fish some doubles as the year progresses, and there's times that we'll fish multiple shanked hooks. So there's some great tires around the U.S. like Blame Chocolate, and some other folks have utilized shanks and hooks to be able to create a big profile pattern that's still not like casting a big wet sock, and something that swims in a way and might represent a food source in a little bit larger scale.
Okay, so when Eric talks about tires, he's talking about fly tires. In fisherman's speak, a tire is a guy who spends his winter tying flies. When he talks about a big wet sock, we're not comparing this to a deceiver that's the size of your thumb. We're actually throwing flies that are intended to mimic a 12-inch fish, so they are the size of wet socks. So let's go fishing.
All right. Cool. Awesome.
Thank you. Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Bob.
These are musky suckers. These are suckers that we raise. We have a fisheries and a barn, and we hatch our own musky suckers, and we raise them from fry. And
So the guy that's using this is drift. He's drifting.
so they'll, you know, in the fall, this really turns on to be able to use live bait. they'll either use a special quick strike rig, so it's no circle. We don't want a fish to inhale the hooks, but so fish's safety is number one. But they'll hang them off the side of the boat. They'll hang them farther back off the back end of the boat while they're fishing, because we can have up to 2 lines in Wisconsin.
So one line will be drift fishing with live bait, and the other line might be casting.
Yep.
A plug?
A
or
plug.
a spoon?
Some of the lures that we have, some of the big bucktails. There's some rubber baits, crankbaits, jerk baits, etc., etc. The gear conventional tackle anglers will try to utilize any technique and best techniques that they can to get a muskie to hang. And but for us, we're going to get down to the nitty gritty. Flies only.
Right.
And big hook sets and big casts.
Let's touch real quick on who's tying those flies and where you're sourcing the flies.
Sure.
And the materials.
Yep. So a lot of the flies I have are actually tied personally by myself. I spend a little bit of time during the season, but more specifically during the winter. So winter is a great downtime, with ice fishing aside, which I do love spending time at. But we're able to spend some time, build our box up again, refresh some flies that worked maybe in the years past, or colors, or innovating, changing things, tweaking things. We're always doing something a little bit different and always trying to improve. These flies are engineered. They're not just material tied on a hook. There's a principle behind it. I spent a lot of time tying. I sourced my materials from various people throughout the country, throughout the Wisconsin area. As many people know, like with the deer hunting, we have big whitetails in the area.
Right.
So those bucktails are perfect for what we use to tie into our flies.
And do you dye the bucktail?
I personally do not. There's a few guys locally within at least the Wisconsin, Minnesota area that do dye their own. It's kind of its own nature of the process of doing that.
Okay. So get into it on his face for a while he's talking, so it's not both of us.
Okay. Yeah.
And are they all single hook flies, or do you do like a double hook streamer kind of thing?